Warning. The following video contains strong language that some viewers may find offensive or disturbing.
What do you do when you start to miss somebody who is dead? Miss them. I watched my father die. I was there for his last moments and it's a memory forever ingrained in me, those last moments. But when I think of that time, which normally saddens me, I immediately think about all the good times we had. The valuable life advice I got from him. And that helps. Edit. First, I want to thank you all for sharing your kind words and messages. Sharing your stories and the current phases you are in when it comes to losing someone close to you. There's no magical process or words I can offer any of you to make it better. I can only share from my own experience that it just took time and trying to always remember the good times. We both loved wrestling and football. We both loved conversations. We both loved some whiskey and a nice big steak together. Those and many more good memories I hold and cherish. Thank you as well for those of you kind enough to spend some of your hard-earned money to award me as well. I will calculate the amount given and pledge to donate to a local charity. I try to think of something else. I lost my twin sister 6 years ago to suicide. I never thought of life without her. We came into the world together. I never thought we wouldn't leave together. It is unbearable. First I get sad. And that makes me wish I could have done things differently. And then I remember there are a lot of people in my life who are still alive. But won't be forever. So I check in with them. And try to do and say the things I wish I had done or said with those who died. A man I knew for 13 years died in February of this year. He was a father to me. And several of my friends who lived in our neighborhood. He was always kind. And loved us all terribly. He was a mechanic for a long time and always showed me how to fix my car and helped me understand manuals and schematics. He even took me to get my permit the first and second BC I failed at time. I cried for days. I have been lucky in the sense that not many people who are close to me have died. But I felt this. Best advice I can give is to not bottle it up. If you need to cry, then cry. I had a shot of Jack for him. And I lit a candle for him the night he passed. Rest in peace, Harvey. You were incredibly loved. We all miss you. I hope God welcomes you with open arms. If they died recently and they still have their phone number set up, call it. Listen to their voicemail. I did this a lot after my best friend died when I was 17. There was something so comforting about picking up the phone to call her and hearing her bubbly voice saying, "Hi. It's me. Leave me a message," and knowing she was smiling the entire time she was recording it. I still have my dad's texts on his old number. When I miss him I update my life through there to him. I know it's silly to be sending messages to a disconnected phone, but it helps. When I'm really feeling down I still have an old voicemail he left me on my birthday years ago where he sings to me and tells me how much he loves me and how proud he is of the man I have become. It's been 3 years since he passed and it has become easier to deal with, but it still hurts. Plant a tree in their memory. And watch it grow into something beautiful. This is a really great idea. I lost my best friend about 8 months ago. He was only 20 but he had gotten married like 6 months prior. His wife is obviously devastated but we've been good support for each other. Anyways, they planted an avocado pit together before he died. Just to see what would happen. It's gotten pretty big and is still growing. I'm really hoping it will be a big beautiful fruit-bearing tree one day. It really sorta feels like a living part of him he left behind. I miss him every day, but it's things like this that make me feel like he's still around. Miss them, feel, grieve, cry, know that the grief is the other side of love. Expressing how much you value the deceased. And bringing them alive in you. Thank them, talk about them, talk to them, learn more from your memories of them. Say their name, gather with others to remember them. Wish them well and invite them to move on. You also have the option to not assume they are gone. Conservation of energy is a fundamental law of nature. Continuation of consciousness can be verified throughout life. Sane societies don't assume beings are merely material. In fact, the material aspect is the least real, the most changeable and ephemeral. You can verify this for yourself. The average person eats between 35 and 55 tons of food in a lifetime. The body is constantly changing. Changing, but the witnessing awareness has always been there. Stable. Unaging. The I who saw the Grand Canyon at 7 years old and the I who experiences New York City at 65 are the same. That awareness has not aged. It is like an ageless mirror or movie screen upon which the whole story of life unfolds. Finally, you can use the energy of missing and the poignancy of your memory of the deceased to better wake up to and understand your own impermanence and certain death. You can take steps to live well. And completely. Today, not assuming that even another day will be guaranteed to you or your loved ones, and prepare to die a good death rather than one avoided. Rejected. Feared as if it's a tragic surprise. I talk to them sounds stupid, but I just talk to them about how much I miss them and about my day. It takes a while and is definitely better done alone, but it just gives you a chance to vent out without making anyone else have to burden your info. I've lost a number of people close to me. I will speak to them. I'm a committed atheist, and believe that nothing remains after we die. But it helps anyway, if it's just a tickle of grief. I'll usually think something like, damn, X would have thought that was so cool. If it's a bigger, pressing grief, I'll talk to them out loud or in my head. I wish you were here for this, or I learned this today. I thought you'd think it was neat, or just fuck. I miss you, sis. My grandmother passed away 20 years ago. I still miss her at times. If you find an answer, let me know. If you speak to your family, ask for stories about her. My grandma passed away when I was 8, so I didn't get much time with her. But my mum and uncle talk about her and laugh at all the funny things she used to say and do. It keeps her memory alive in our family. Chaplain here. Honestly, just let yourself miss them. Instead of trying to distract yourself and force yourself to do something else. Just let it come on you. If you need to cry, get mad, smile, laugh. Just find a place you can either be by yourself or with someone who knows how to just sit with you. And let whatever you're feeling happen. And then let it subside. Grief tends to come in waves. And instead of trying to fight the current and not let it move you at all, it helps to give a little. Let yourself grieve. Miss them. And when the feelings subside a little bit, take a few more steps. There's no getting back to normal because the normal you knew can't ever be there again. You've got to learn the new normal. And there's going to be some growing pains. And residual pain from losing that person. Just let yourself be yourself. And don't try and condemn any feelings you might think are bad, i.e., anger, sadness, crying, etc. They're just sensations like pain, tickling, etc. They're telling your body something. In this case, that you're hurt. So let yourself be hurt. And give yourself time to heal. Just be patient with yourself. My dad died last summer. When I miss him, I think about all the good times we spent as a family. Him getting to know his daughters-in-law, family dinners, childhood camping trips, fixing up the house together. Usually I cry a lot too, which is completely fine. I try not to think about how he died accident while doing construction on my brother's house. On his retirement day, just remember the good times. It'll hurt, maybe forever, but he's still with me every day. Like others have suggested I talk to them, I also include them in my daily thoughts about things or life. Lost my brother over a year ago and I talk to him all the time. He still makes fun of me, picks on me, congratulated me, and helps me make decisions. I was at his house doing some work this past Christmas time. The house was built by my grandfather, who I never met. I knew my brother and father both would have an input in how I was doing the repair, but as I worked in that shop I spoke with 3 generations about how I was doing it and how I knew it wasn't perfect but the best I could do. My grandfather even stuck up for me. I guess my point is keep them in your life. I tend to wallow in it. May is a rough month for me. My mom died 20 years ago as of May 23rd. Her birthday is May 4th. Mother's Day is in May. Constant reminders. But missing her is my reminder she was here. If it's bad enough in talk with my best friend or my dad about her, memories we have. It helps. This popped up first thing in my feed today. I had a close friend of mine pass away in 2013 and today would have been his 27th birthday. I'm taking this as a sign. The comments were helpful to read. I miss him a lot, U0001F90D. I write them a letter. Trigger warnings, murder. Violent content. My mother was murdered when I was 16. It was quite difficult to find closure, since she was shot with an AK-47 in the face. While working in our small grocery store, owned by a few past generations of my father's family, we lived in Mexico at the beginning of the drug war. My mother's face was disfigured to a point that it seemed fake. It had to be reconstructed with what seemed like wax. I was in shock for a few years. Possibly until 19 years old. I kept believing she had staged her murder so that we could run away. Obviously, I was mistaken. I even believed for a moment she had staged her death to run away with a lover. The mind in shock will come to irrational conclusions. I've been able to have some closure by writing her letters when I miss her. When I need her. When things get difficult. I address unresolved issues and it truly helps heal the wound. It has been 11 years since the tragic incident. I would tell you, writing has truly helped me heal. I'm okay now. Sometimes I do need to get a bit of the pain and the weight off my chest. Like this instance. I hope you find some closure. My friend. July 29th will be 1 year since my 16-year-old son passed away. With his muscular dystrophy, I was his physical caregiver, lifting and moving him. Without him, my routine feels empty as this was something we did for 4 years. I miss him every single day. I still feel like I hear him calling me for help moving in bed. Sometimes I reminisce through tears of sadness and laughter. Sometimes I sob uncontrollably. Sometimes, usually driving home, I scream as long and as loud as I can because nothing else works. However, he had an amazingly strong faith for someone his age. I know where he is and I know I will see him again. And that brings me peace. It's a process and its time frame will differ with different people. Idle time to think and overthink is the worst way of trying to cope, though at first it is the only thing you have energy to do. Being with others, having counseling and being busy are essential for future happiness. Some days will be better than others, but the good days will come more often as time goes by. I didn't think there was any possible way to be happy again, but I managed to get through to that side, but it took time. I still don't understand why my love was taken from me when it took so long to find, but I know my pain was nothing like the loss of a child which many go through. So I try to be so thankful for what I have and had, and know many would trade places with me. I am not cold or hungry and I live in a free country. When I think of my many blessings, I know I should never complain, for my blessings have far outweighed any sadness I have had to endure. Miss them, laugh, cry, hide in bed, grieve however you need to. Everyone handles grief differently. There is no pressure. Just miss the person, grieve for as long as you need, and then pick up and move on. That doesn't mean you forget the person or what they meant to you, it just means you accept that they are gone and you can't change it. And also accept that while they're gone, you aren't, and you still get more time to live. Someone I was really close to died close to a decade ago. Seems weird that it's been that long, and I still think about them a lot. But somewhere along the way I just decided that being sad every time I was reminded of them wasn't a great use of my time, and was also doing them quite the disservice, as they were always happy and fun and hated seeing other people sad. So I think of them and smile, knowing I had some great times with them. It's still a little sad, but it's happy too, and it gets easier as time goes on. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and hit the notification button. See you next time.